Welcome, everybody, to Generation Viewpoint. I'm Evan, and this is my dad, Freedom.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you again.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah, I know.
So I have a question for you.
Oh, I love questions. We do a lot of these questions, don't we?
I think that's all we do. We just
It
answer
really
questions.
It really is, right?
Yeah.
So, all right,
Yeah.
fire away.
So do you think that we have influence?
We as in individuals in the world, or we as in you and I sitting here doing a podcast?
You and I sitting here doing this podcast. Like, does this
Wow.
podcast have
Yeah.
influence
Holy cow.
on people?
What a great question. My word. I challenged you to think of some ideas and concepts to talk about. I didn't know you were going to hit me with a heavy one like this. So do we have influence? I don't know if we do, Ev. I see it. Okay. So here, we're always open about everything, right?
Yep.
So right now, these are the things going through my mind. If I were to say that we have influence, I would feel like I was being bold.
Yeah.
Right? As in, we have influence. We influence people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be very brazen to just say, of course we influence people, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, I really hope that we kind of do influence people
Mm-hmm.
to have conversations and talk about relationships and topics that matter and to not get stuck in ruts of non-communicating and things like that.
Yeah.
So isn't that weird, I guess, that I want to say the answer. I want to say yes, because that's why we're here. But on the other hand, I feel like if we say yes, then we're being bold and brazen. So I don't know what to say.
Well, I totally agree with you because I don't know how much influence we really have.
Yeah.
Only a few people have talked to us that have been like you actually made a difference or something like that.
Yeah.
And like changed our thinking.
Yeah.
And that was it. So, I mean, we've had influence on a handful of people, and that might even be more than we actually have had influence on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we want to have influence. So I can see where that is.
And even if we have an influence as far as getting people to think creatively and maybe have the courage to try something outside of the box. I mean, this is very outside of the box for you and I to do this. It's very challenging to do every week as far as coming up with things to talk about and to make the time. A lot of time goes in this. So it's a challenge for us to push through. So I hope that we can be of an influence like that in everybody who's joining us, that, maybe to try something different and push through.
Yeah.
I guess right now I feel like that we're just more entertaining than we are influencing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot more people say entertaining than...
which is great. Listen, if you can have fun and if we can raise people's spirits, and give them a smile during their day, then maybe that'll translate into something else. Maybe it is them smiling at somebody else and whatever it is. I don't know, but wow, that's a great question.
So to continue that,
Yes.
how much do you think people that, I don't know how to phrase it.
Okay.
My thinking is YouTube people.
Yes.
So daily vloggers or just videos of people. How much influence do you think they have on us?
Okay. I'm going to have a hard time answering that question only because there's not a lot of YouTube vloggers that I follow.
Yeah.
Now, that said, can we put podcasters in that group?
I didn't mean only YouTube because I know you don't watch a lot of YouTube.
I'm a big podcaster though. I love them.
Yeah, the idea of this just came through YouTube because I watch a lot of YouTube. So it's really anyone that can talk and put stuff out daily or...
I think there's a lot of influence there, and that is there's proof there on when I have a question about something that I'm going to work on, I want to know more about, I'll go and find a podcast about it, or I'll find YouTube videos about it. For an example, I just tiled a shower for the first time ever in our house this year, right? I didn't know how to do it. So I went on YouTube and researched videos and watched people who were doing it, and they influenced me on the decisions that I'd made on how to do my shower. right? And there's different people on there doing it different ways, but one influenced me more than another, and that's why I chose to do it the way that he did it versus the other people.
Yeah.
So I think there's great influence there. Podcasters, I think, are awesome. I mean, me personally, I think they're the modern day book. Because I can listen to them faster. They're more relevant. They're today versus printed 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or whatever it was. Like a lot of their material just happened this week, so it's really up to date.
Yeah.
I think that if you find a podcast that has to do with the subject matter you're interested in, hugely impactful on your life. Absolutely.
Okay. And then my last question, and you might not fully be capable of answering this question.
Okay.
But something that's typical of daily vloggers or people that release videos weekly or bi-weekly on YouTube are usually sponsored by different things.
Okay. Yeah.
And I watched this one vlogger that sponsors a lot of different things in his videos.
Okay. Yep.
And do you think that those products that he uses different products in his daily,
right?
And he just says, "Oh yeah, I use this because I love it." But at the same time, people are sending them those, and he likes it, so he sponsors it to support the company without them paying for him. They just give him stuff.
Sure. Okay.
So do you think that by him using those things influences the viewer to want that more? Or is it just false advertisement?
So I guess it's going to come down to the credibility of the person that you're watching or listening to on a podcast.
Okay.
So an example of that, I listen to quite a lot of podcasts, like I said before, and they'll have sponsors on their shows, right?
Yeah.
There are some podcasters, though, who have product sponsors or company sponsors, and they have them on there simply because they'll pay them to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the person who's doing that on a regular basis over and over again, I'm not really going to buy into that product because it's like watching a commercial on TV.
Yeah.
There's no connection. But there are podcasters that I know who use products and recommend them and turn down sponsorships because they either don't believe in the product or have never used it and didn't think it was useful. And those people have a lot of credibility with me. When I hear them recommend something, I'm like, I'm on to that because I believe them and they've used it, they've vetted it. I don't have to figure it out.
So if they openly say that they don't sponsor things that they don't believe in,
right?
But they get a sponsorship from someone and they say, they offer me a sponsorship and I really believe in this product.
Right.
And they weekly say that they like it as the sponsorship. Would you believe them then? Or would it go down?
I would believe them if they used it. If they're using the item and they believe in it, and I know them to be a person over because I've listened to them for a while or watched them for a while, then I would believe them for sure.
Gotcha.
Because you get to know somebody almost like a friend. So if a friend comes to you and says, "Hey, this mechanic down the street is really, really good," you take that as truth because you trust your friend. So when you're following somebody on YouTube or a podcaster over a period of time, not the first time you see them or listen to them, but over a period of time, you can kind of get a gist of who they are.
Yeah.
Are they an honest person? Are they a not honest person? You get a feeling for it.
Yeah.
And so then you'll be able to feel whether you can trust their recommendations or not. I would think,
Yeah.
So to follow up on that, let me ask you this. So we have a podcast.
Yeah.
We have no sponsors.
No.
We pay to have a podcast. We don't earn.
Yeah.
We're on the wrong side of this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. If, let's say, somebody came to us right now, and wanted to sponsor our show, and they were going to pay us, a weekly amount to have them as our sponsor.
Yeah.
And it was an item that you have never used before, right? An item or service. Would you do it?
I wouldn't right away. I would ask for them to let me check it out.
Okay.
And then if I liked it, then yeah.
Now, would you be against the idea of having the sponsorship, right? But then saying, just so everybody knows, I have not used this item, but they are sponsoring our show. Would that make it any better, or you wouldn't even want to do that?
I don't know. Because then our credibility would go down, as you were saying.
Right.
Because they're just doing it just because. So the person that's sponsoring is really losing by sponsoring us.
Right.
They aren't gaining.
Gotcha. Okay. So you would want to use the product or the service, get to know it, and then be able to recommend it as, and you really know, like, you're happy to have the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you see a lot of people you wonder, like all these golfers nowadays, you watch a golfer and they've got a company sponsor on the collar, they've got one on the hat, they've got one on the front of the hat, they've got one on the sleeve of the shirt and a different one on the chest of the shirt and one on the belt and one on the shoe.
Yeah.
And you're like, are you really using all of those products? I mean, or are you just getting paid for the logo on there and you really don't care? And I would tell you that my thought is that they really don't care. It's they're getting paid millions to wear that on there, so cash the check.
But I also think it's different for them because they aren't verbally saying, get this product and get this product. They're just wearing it.
So what if we don't verbally do it then? Let's say that right here. See on our beautiful sign here behind us?
Yeah.
Let's say that we don't ever say anything, but right now, plastered across the front of that thing was the name of a restaurant that wanted to sponsor us, or a mechanic, or Goodyear Tire. It's just like right across that thing. You'd be like, okay.
Probably not. No.
I know you wouldn't, because you wouldn't even let me have a Coke or a Pepsi or anything can on the table. You're like, I got to have everything in a glass.
Yeah.
But yet you're the first one to jump all over your Piper and Leaf tea, and they're not sponsoring our show, but you promote them.
Because I believe in the product, and I don't care if they're paying us or not.
Well, why can't I have a Coke can on the table? I believe in their product too. It's delicious.
They're a small company. They're very small. They make their own stuff. They aren't international.
So this is a big topic that you're hitting on right now.
Okay.
Is small companies, why is it that we feel like we need to protect and promote small companies? And if we can get the same product of better quality, let's not say better, of equal quality from a large company. Why do we feel like we need to protect the mom and pop store downtown that makes shoes when we can buy shoes right down the street and not worry about it?
I think it's the story or the feeling you get from it.
This is interesting. Okay. Explain that a little bit. What do you mean by the story?
Well, if you were talking about mom and pop sandwich shop or something, that rhymed. Look at that.
Very good. Right. You should name one of those. Okay.
But if you think about that, like, you're not going to go to Subway when they're there, because you can go in, they'll be there, and they'll make it and have an amazing service because they care about their customers more than just a franchise or something.
Right. I guess I was thinking about this the other day when I can't remember how I heard it, but somebody was getting riled up about protecting a small, and I like that too. I like Piper and Leaf and small companies like that, and they find a niche and people love their stuff, and I think that's great. I guess the one that I get a little confused on is if we go back in time, let's say, right, and let's say as cars were modernizing, right, and the original cars had those wooden wheels. Right? The wooden spoke wheels. And so let's say all of a sudden, of course, there was probably mom and pop places making those wooden wheels, right? For whether it was horse-drawn carriages and then cars, right? There was mom and pop places. Well, all of a sudden, somebody comes up with a rubber tire that works better, smoother ride, a lot of benefits to it. So how much time did people keep riding on wooden wheels simply to protect the mom and pop store that was downtown instead of helping them or progressing to something that was better? Do you know what I mean? Like, isn't that a challenging question kind of though?
Yeah, but when you talk about that, I think it's not on the customer, it's on mom and pop, because they need to shift their focus from wooden wheels to the innovation of that.
But what if it's all they knew? Like, all they know is wooden wheels. They're craftsmen.
Then they're going to be out because you can't hold back the progression of technology.
So would you feel guilty driving down the street in front of mom and pop and you've known them all your life because you're in a small town and you got a nice pair of black Goodyears on and they're standing there with nothing to do?
I mean, I'd feel bad, but I wouldn't do anything because I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Because it's on them.
Yeah. It's interesting. I guess that's a whole thing of people losing jobs in older technologies, right? We want to protect them, but at the same time, there's a lot of progress being made.
Yeah.
And we need to always constantly be retooling and relearning new information and stuff like that. And that's not easy to do. I mean, somebody who's been doing something for 20 or 30 years, man, I feel bad for them when they lose their job because that's what they know.
Yeah.
You know, and I really, that's crushing when places close down. But it's like a progression of time, though, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just was thinking about the other day and just brought it up with Piper and Leaf. So,
yeah.
Anyways, good stuff. How much time have we got? I don't even know.
We should probably shut it down.
Oh, we got to shut this thing down. We just got going, man. You had some great questions. Man, I'm fired up. That was awesome.
I actually didn't think that would last longer than like 6 minutes, but it just...
It was awesome. And we have a habit when we sink our teeth into something, forget about it. We're gone to the races. So. Very good. Well, I guess we got to wrap this sucker up. So it's been another great episode, Ev, and I really loved the questions you had today. Those are fantastic. And I think it's interesting for all of us to think about, our listeners and our viewers, is, we all love that small niche store, the mom and pop, or a Piper and Leaf. We keep using that as an example, and once again, we don't get sponsored by them, although we would take one.
Yes,
if you're out there.
Yeah.
But anyways, but when is it that we're fired up in protecting them simply because they're small and not really because the product is beneficial? If that makes any sense. This is a challenging question, I guess. So, but in the meanwhile, I hope you all have a great week, and we will see you again soon.
See ya. Remember, we're on iTunes and Stitcher, and as always, thanks for being awesome.